Hey, welcome back, everybody, for another review. Today we're going to be talking about a movie called The Gorge, which is actually a Apple TV exclusive. So if you have that streaming service, you can watch this, or if you have any other means of watching movies, you can watch this. But yeah, this is a movie that is directed by Scott Derrickson, which if anybody doesn't know, Scott Derrickson also he's wrote and directed some damn good movies. He's responsible for The Black Phone, Sinister. He did the first Doctor Strange. He's done a couple. He did a segment in one of the VHS movies a couple years ago, and he's always a very unique writer. Like he to me, he gives these concepts that are really creepy. Like to me, Sinister is it is so creepy and eerie. Like the first time I ever saw it, I was like, that movie's damn creepy, especially with the tapes and all that stuff like that. And then of course the Black Phone that we just got a couple years ago. Really cool, very very cool premise. And I'm very curious what they're going to do with the Black Phone too, because I do not know how you're going to do a sequel to that movie. But anyway, I found out I thought he wrote this movie, but he did not. This is actually written by a guy named Zach Dean. So up until the credits rolled last night, I was under the impression that not only did Scott Derrickson direct this one, I thought he wrote it as well, but he didn't. So this movie stars Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, who are essentially these snipers, and they have to guard this. They're both set up on two different towers, and they're not supposed to communicate with each other, but they're supposed to guard this gorge that essentially is some formation of maybe the gate of hell. Yeah, so their job is to essentially keep anything from escaping the gorge. They have to shoot it, kill it, whatever means necessary. And this is a very interesting premise. Like I thought it was a very cool movie. I think Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy are awesome in it they're two actors I really enjoy and I really like. And I think the two of them have great chemistry. They're supposed to they start as these strangers and they slowly start communicating with each other even though they're not supposed to. And through that, of course, they start to fall for each other. And they're stuck there for a year. Like they're supposed to have no communication for a year. That's just how, it's supposed to be. They're supposed to be isolated. They have everything they need in their own particular tower. But I think the two of them have amazing chemistry together. Like I buy into their relationship. I believe that they could be together. I believe everything that they're doing, and I think that helps push the movie forward because you're supposed to, be on the ride with these people. And I think if you didn't buy into that relationship, I think it would the movie would kind of fall apart because it hinges on just the two of them throughout the whole movie. Now, the first hour, I would say this is about a 2 hour movie. I would say the first hour of this movie is kind of the big setup, like it's setting. And I'm not saying it's slow like that for any means, but it's that's more of setting up the story and setting up the rules of this world, and it has the two of them kind of mingling and meeting per se and getting together and all that stuff and setting up all this lore and all that. And the last hour of the movie is kind of more where everything kind of all hell breaks loose, no pun intended, and stuff starts to happen with the gorge and these characters, and they have to figure certain things out. Secrets are figured out and things like that. Like I don't want to give too much away. I do think this is a movie that the further that the story goes, that the more stuff is peeled back and revealed, and the more that the characters know. We're on the side of the characters. We know as much as they do. So when they start uncovering stuff, there's certain stuff in this movie where you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That is a cool take on that, or it's kind of cool how they did that. This is a very blended movie. It's very horror, sci-fi, action, romance type type movie, which I've noticed this year so far. We've got a lot of blended movies, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing because there's some that can pull it off. I think this is one of those movies to me that blends them perfectly together because it's so hard to keep a consistent story when you have that many type of genres, and it does it very well. Like you never feel one is overtaking the other. Like it kind of has the perfect balance of all those. I'll be honest, when this movie first started, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know if this is going to be for me. But once about maybe 20, 30 minutes in, I was kind of hooked into it. And I was like, okay. And so it kind of starts out a little slow, but I think if you stick with it, I think people will really enjoy it. I'm late to this review. This actually came out, I think, around Valentine's Day. Did it come out on Valentine's Day? It was somewhere. I think it was on Valentine's Day or sometime within that week. And again, I just wasn't able to do it. I had to. The week of Valentine's was when I released Love Hurts and Hard Eyes. This one kind of came later, and that week I had a bunch of crap going on at work, so I was very late. I didn't get a chance to watch this until last night, so I'm very late to this. So I hope if anyone's interested in this movie, I hope people check out this review because I'm super late to it. I think the one thing that was really cool about this movie, as well as I think the creature design for these different, they call them the Hollow Men in the movie, which if you watch the movie you'll understand why. But I think that they're really well done. They're very unique looking. They have almost like a, it's hard to explain because there's different types of them. Like some of them, there's one particular one that comes to mind that looks like something right out of Dead Space. If anybody's ever played that game, which is some of the creatures in that are terrifying. Then others is like this, without giving too much away. It's these very hybrid creatures, and they do it really well. Obviously, there's CGI involved, but the way it's not so over the top or anything that it takes you out of it. It does a very good job of blending some stuff together, because a lot of it, in some of the creatures, when you see certain parts of a face, it looks like there is like maybe some makeup involved. So maybe they did a good combination of both of them. So, but I think it's a really cool creature design. To me, I thought it was a nice original movie. Now, I do get a little concerned when it comes to streaming movies, because sometimes they can be hit or miss. But a lot of times, Apple, I've noticed, they do more TV shows than movies. So when we do get a movie, because I thought this was going to be a TV show when I first heard about it, and this is but thankfully it was a movie. But Apple does some really good stuff. They have some great TV shows and some really good movies. This is one I did not watch the trailer for, so I just heard the concept of it and who was in it, and I was like, that's cool. So I never went out of my way to watch the trailer. I was kind of already hooked into it. So I don't know if the trailer gives anything away or exposes anything. I know with trailers it's a 50-50 shot. Another thing that I thought, this movie was awesome looking. Like the cinematography, the way that certain things are shot is beautiful. And then there's a particular scene where they have to, when you see more of the gorge, like down in the world of the gorge, without giving too much away, that it's shot so well because it looks like a post-apocalyptic version of hell, essentially. And it's very creepy and eerie, and it has that really Scott Derrickson vibe to it, where it's got that horror element with it, but it's so awesome the way that it's shot and lit. Like there's certain shots that are, with reds and stuff like that it works so well and it looks so good. This is also without giving anything away. There's a nice nod in this movie to the other actors. If you've seen their other work, one movie and one show in particular from the other actors, or from the two actors, that if you've seen those two, there's a nice nod in this movie towards that. I thought was really cool. It's kind of in the beginning when they're getting to know each other, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool how they snuck that little detail in there. Now, I don't know if that was on purpose. I don't know if was written in there before these guys were cast, but if it wasn't, that was just a really cool coincidence. But it's to me, it was just a really cool nod to that. I think this movie falls in the same category as kind of what I said about Long Legs, Hard Eyes, and Love Hurts, where it came out around Valentine's Day, and it could be this could be a fun date movie, and you don't even have to go anywhere. You could be at home watching it, and because it's got enough in it for everybody, it has, like I said, it's able to mesh these genres together so well that there's action, and there's enough action, there's enough romance, there's enough sci-fi and horror, and and all that for everybody. It's got a little taste of something for everybody, and I think because of that, I think it will work. It will be able to work for more people. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I think this is a really fun, good time. And if you and your significant other are looking for a movie to watch, especially because this was more geared towards Valentine's Day, I think you guys would enjoy it, because they do such a good job at genre blending that there's something in it for everybody, like I said earlier. and it was a lot of fun. Like, I didn't really have a lot of negatives for this movie or any dislikes. The only thing that really comes to mind out of the top of my head is that the two characters that we follow, they're very, we don't know a lot about them. We know just a little bit of stuff that we're told here and there, but we're told enough that we care about them. We want to go on this journey with them. We want to see where the story takes them. But but we could have. I mean, there could have been some opportunities there for a little bit of character growth and development for each character individually, but still, I think, like I said, you do care enough about them from the little information that you know that you do still want to see them succeed, and you care. I think that's the biggest thing, is not only do you buy into the relationship, like I said earlier, but you do care, and those are two very big opponents to have for a movie, especially like this. But it was a lot of fun. It was a cool genre blender, and I would say check it out for sure. So if you've seen The Gorge, just comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about it. And as always, please go check out my other content if you haven't already. I've just put out a top 10 movies of 2024. Sorry that was so late. And I also have reviews for Hard Eyes and Love Hurts and things like that. So please come over and check it out on the channel. I try to have a good time over here and all that good stuff. So please comment, subscribe, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.